Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to keep working on my hatbox, which is the prompt from the Roxy Creations make a box. Well, technically I didn't make the box, but it's a slow stitch project based on a box. So some are making them, some have found some gorgeous old boxes and have done amazing work. This is a hat box and we've completed the sides with lots of little houses with slow stitch snippet pieces attached to that rim, and the side is done. So in the last video I worked out my layout and I've stitched down the lace and also slow stitched in around the background. Now I also added 3 little snippets of the tartan, sort of to tie it all together. So I've still got my snippets here. I got called away from it yesterday, so I thought, tomorrow morning, being today, I will come back and just double check that I can't get any more little check pieces of fabric in somewhere. But I sort of don't think I can. Maybe there. So that's where I'm at. Do I add more of the tartan? Oh, it's not tartan technically, is it? It's check. So I might add that little piece. This was the piece I cut out and then got called away. So I think I will add that. I don't have any blue. Maybe just that. Yeah, that'll do. And with these little add-on pieces, I've just been doing a little bit of running stitch over them. Here's some cotton still. So I hope you're all been well. We're drawing to a close on the month of May, which has just gone so quick. Now do I need a pin? I'll just tidy up some of these little bits on it. All right. It's definitely not in the way of the little lugs. On the top of the box are those little bits that come in, and we'll need to cut them away as we attach this panel. So the photograph, I took my time with it, and I believe I've created a pocket that it can slide into. So I'm hoping we can get it attached to the box and then come back in at the end and just slide it down into it. It was pretty fiddly. I sort of had to keep pinning and just making sure my little stitches were in the exact spot to allow that to happen. I actually took this to Brisbane with me and stitched, but I left the photo and the lace at home. I did take a little bit of lace, but no, I end up leaving everything at home. I know I took a photo of the layout after, during the filming of the last video, but I ended up not even looking at it, and I just did it again. So there's technically 2 layouts, but I still stayed with that wrapped image at the bottom and then just did this little cluster at the top. So it came together okay. The only thing that didn't go in from that video were these 2 little pieces. So everything found its home. So I'm just doing a little running stitch. Catching that in. The other thing I need to just check too are some buttons, because there's little buttons through that whole side panel. So I think we need to pop a few on the top. It'll sort of help make this look like it's all part of the piece, which it does anyway. I'm not too concerned, but I think we could quickly attach a couple buttons and then that's it. Let's attach it to the hat box. I'm still thinking about the inside. I'm sort of the opinion of not doing anything because of the patina inside. I just love it. And it matches beautifully. It's not like it's an unusual colour that's fighting against what I've done. If anything, that colour palette in the box set me on the journey of this. So I might just have to go and fix any torn little bits of paper. There is a stain in there and I just can't decide. I sort of think, well, the stain's someone's story. I don't know what it is. Probably a perfume or a cosmetic of some sort. I couldn't imagine it being much else than that. So I sort of, I don't know. We'll see. Let's just get this done, girl. And go from there. Okay. Got the buttons. What real old looking ones. And often I've been turning them upside down. Sort of nothing too big, it would seem. So that's going to be cut out there, so you need to be a little mindful of. Could probably handle a little cluster. It's an unusual button, look at him. Anyway, stay focused. Can we do 3 in a row there? Looks so new. Oh my goodness, I could scratch around in a button bucket for hours. They're all so worn, like they've got scratches across the top. Oh my goodness, these buttons have done their job. The question is, am I going to bump into the... It's only a little one, so I should be pretty right. I just feel like I need to put those there. So let's get those stitched on. Come on, come through. So have you got anything exciting planned today? I don't. I think it's going to rain today, which is good because that's less work I need to do outside in trying to get all my garden established. So a nice sprinkling of rain would be really good. Come on. Why can't I line up the needle to a buttonhole? It's always like that when you're in a hurry. You lose a button and you have to quickly stitch it back on, and it's just the most awkward task. Ow. Just jab myself. Are you going to bleed? Of course you are. And I would have to be working with neutrals. This sort of one's got a bit of thread in it left from the previous task, which is rather cute. Gosh, I hope that button's not in the way of that lug. Just seemed like a great spot to pop a button or two right there above that little cluster. You watch, it'll be in the way. We'll make it work. A couple of you asked or pointed out that they thought this piece was bigger than the top of the hat box. It is. I used the edge of the hat box to create the size, the panel, and that then allowed me to stitch away, and as you stitch pieces like this together, they tend to shrink a little in size. Not a lot, but they do come in. So I thought, well, that'll definitely happen. And then, like I did with the side panel, anything that is sort of hanging over that blue metal edge to the box, I just trimmed it back. And my guesstimate is I will need to pinch off about that. So only a tiny little bit, but it'll all depend on how it seats down. Might not be as much as I think. So we've got those there. Where else can we get a nice button? There's an old girl. It's very big. Too big. Little mother of pearl button. You're rather cute. Got to be a bit careful here because the photo side's in there. So I might just stitch him there. And I think I could do with something there. No. It's got writing on it too. It's certainly not from the era. That's an old girl, but they're a bit big. Just the one. Just one for now. So let's get this little guy. Have I knotted it? Nope. Thoroughly enjoyed this project, and I'm not sure if it's because of the task itself or the fact that I've given this new life and it'll actually be used. It's come from the back of the cupboard and it's being used. I noticed that is a similar sentiment that a few of you have had when you've pulled out old sewing boxes and things like that, that you're like, oh, it's just old and not my colours, or, you know, they're just around, you can't let them go, but you're not using it. It's taking up valuable space. That's what this was all about. I was looking in my cupboard in the garage, and I've got another hat box that is huge. It is a metal one, and it's full of blocks, hat blocks, when they would be making hats. And I believe my grandmother's aunt was a bit of a hat maker. She wasn't a milliner that I know of, but they would definitely make their own hats. So there's a series of these timber domed hat blocks. I'm guessing which were the size of the ladies' heads in the family. There's two, so two sizes. And then in there is a bag of old hats. It's rather sweet. Haven't opened that box for ages. That box would be fantastic to do as well, but it's just a monster. It would be about 2 foot, 2.5 foot wide, and I've just got nowhere I could put it. That would need a bench top to sit, or tucked in under a bench, but I just don't have that. Maybe one day it'll find a home. I might just leave it at that. I don't want to go overboard. I just want a smattering of things. All right, so let's move that out. I think it's time to start adhering the piece. Let's move everything out of the way. So the plan is, like I did with the houses, is just to start in the middle with my glue stick. This is just from my local stationery store. In Australia they're called Officeworks, but these are also, oh, don't put too much pressure on, girl. I can feel, it's only cardboard, the box. I can feel it bowing. These are also from Woolworths. Just a study. And of course we're going to run out of glue. Of course we are. I'm being very liberal with it. Put that in the bin. Let's get another one, guys. So that's how I buy them. They're often on sale at the beginning of the year for the school kids going back to school. So you can get them at a really good price, or at odd times I've walked, and they've just flung across the table. At odd times I've walked into Officeworks and they've had like a big pallet dump bin full of them, thousands of them, and you can buy them singly. So sometimes they're a good deal, but you just need to do the maths and check your price, because the one day I got in there, this is when I was doing a lot of journaling, I got in there and they had the bin, and I got excited and I grabbed about 25 of them, and I think they worked out they were $1.20 each or something like that. So it's like a cat that caught a mouse. And I get to the counter and I thought, oh, I better just check around to see, you know, what else I might need. And I walked past where they were in the packs, and I just happened to glance there and I realised that they were 90 cents each or something like that. There was a significant discount by buying them in the pack. And I was a little bit, what's the word? What my mum would say, I was Scotty, as in misty, angry. Not angry, that's not quite. I was frustrated with the fact that that would catch so many people. It was a bit deceptive, I thought. Is that the right word? Hope I'm not going overboard with the glue. Just going to get it all in. Pretty sure I did a similar thing last time. And then use my sharp little scissors to snip out anything that's excess, because it doesn't glue down or doesn't adhere straight away. So you've got time to trim. I think I did it in more stages last time. Probably getting more confident. I like it because it's blue and you can see exactly where you've been. That's why I liked it in my paper journals, because it really made sure that everything was getting glue, especially when you're joining papers together. You want to make sure. Okay, now I could probably do with the cloth. Should have thought of that before I sat down. Hold that thought, guys. Grabbing a cloth. All right, spin it around. Find the flat edge and position it. And just start that's where the photo slides in, so we definitely want to get that as flat as possible. It's definitely come in a little. So now we need to very carefully, gingerly work out what needs to be snipped back. So I might just start, where am I going to start? We'll start here. And then peel it back, and you see where the glue's given me a guide to that little lug. So then I can just snip, 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 snip. I tell you, there was a ruckus here last night. I don't know what was lurking around in the dark, but Pepper did not like it. She went crazy. So, I don't know. It was a full moon, so I don't know if there was some fishermen. Well, not quite a full moon. So I'm not sure. Maybe there was some fishermen down there. Usually she lets us know that someone's down, you know, fishing at the lake. But then she just settles down and watches them. So whether the fact that it was nighttime and she was like, I can't see them. Oh gosh, she was not happy. Just need the tiniest bit off. She barked and barked and barked. Oh, there's another lug. Just need that little edge, the little blue edge to peekaboo. I'm going to have to cut that cotton there, but that's okay. That's what is going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, she was really upset. So, I don't know, maybe there was a dingo around. Don't know. But I ended up having to get up out of bed because it was 2 in the morning. I thought it was at daylight, and my husband was like, oh, she's barking. It woke me. And my husband's done his back, so he's not exactly up to jumping out of bed to reprimand a barking dog. So he had to sort of wake me up, and my first initial thought was, oh, can't you get up? Then as I sort of brought myself to and woke, I realised, oh, Gaz can't actually get up because his back is very tender at the moment. Oh, that's great. That's worked a treat. So I just have to, yeah, that's pretty good there. I just have to nibble my way. I might change to these snippers. They're just giving me a bigger handle to hang on to. Yeah, so I end up hopping up and having a look, but I couldn't see anything. But she was wound up. I thought, well, maybe it's a carpet snake going through, or I don't know. They're the types of things that come to my mind in Brisbane, where there's a carpet snake going through a sand dune. I don't know. Still getting my head around what lives around here. But in Brisbane, you could pretty much possums, carpet snakes going along a joining property fence line, all those types of things are very much around at night. And we've pretty much experienced all of them. But could have been some kangaroos passing through, but it kept going. Like kangaroos, they'll come through and then go, oh my goodness, there's a dog woofing at me, and then they're gone. And she would settle down. It's happened before. She's very quick to settle once she realises that there's no threat anymore. But she would not stop. And she was very aggressive. Bandit, not so much. So, I don't know, he's such a bozo, that boy. He should be the one. He's the male, but no, Pepper's the voice. Bandit was like just standing behind her if to go, what's happening? I don't see anything. He just was such a nonchalant. Where Pepper was growling, she was bouncing off the ground into the air, like just, man, if you were lurking around and thinking about sneaking in to the back of our property and maybe pinching my sprinklers, that's about all that's there to pinch. Pepper would scare the bejeebers out of you. You would not go in. Well, I wouldn't. I'd be like, my goodness, that dog's going to rip my throat out. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't have too bad of barking. Like, I wanted to bark to let people know, hey, back away, this is private property. That's why, good morning, Fudge. That's why you have these dogs, just as a bit of a deterrent for anyone who's lurking. Go elsewhere or go home and think about your actions. But I don't want her to continuously bark, which she isn't. So if she continues to bark, I get quite wound up myself, because it's like, oh my goodness, the neighbours are trying to get a good night's sleep. And we are a fair distance from neighbours, at least 200 metres, but it's not the point. So I need to have a chat to Pepper today about her behaviour. But it's tricky because something upset her. But the fact that Bandit didn't get upset, I'm thinking, well, is it just Pepper being neurotic and she needs to pull her little red head in? I don't know. Blowed if I could see anything. We don't have a camera system set up. We did in Brisbane, which proved very helpful at times when people were lurking around. So yeah, we sort of don't have any cameras yet. We own a set of cameras which sort of just go wherever they need to go. Like they were all up here because there were tradesmen on site, so they were able to talk to us through the cameras, which was really handy because we were so far away, and suddenly you've got a concreter saying, oh, how close do you want this path to your shed, you know? And then I took them back to Brisbane, and they really need to come back. But I don't think they're going to see down to the water's edge anyway. They'd be more if someone was really close to the house. Hello, Fudgy. This side's really good. That's how much it's shrunk in. It's just about there. I love the pop of the blue. Just peeking around. I don't think I'm going to take any more off of there. So I've got all the lugs, yes. Just give everything a really good press. I feel like I could do a bit of stitching here. I must have thought the lug was going to be there, but it's actually there. I wonder if I could sneaky stitch in. Yeah, I think I can. I'm being finicky now, but I'm going to do it. I sort of had to guess where. Well, those buttons were definitely safe. Fudgy's got a new food in his bowl and he just does not seem to like it. He's not happy. He's being very meow-meowy. Fudgy's really settling in well. He's even now back to his little routine of a morning and late evening where he will request to go outside for a little jaunt or just a sit in the sun. And he hasn't done that. And I thought, oh, maybe he's not going to want to do that. He did at the last place. And, okay, Fudgy, he's standing on the table looking at me. And probably in the last 3 days, he's been going to the door that connects the hallway of the house to the garage where, you know, if you parked your car, you'd then slip inside via this. There's technically no knot there. That is just the bodgiest work, but this will catch it. Yeah, so he's been sitting at that door inside, meowing, to go outside for, you know, a little bit of grass or a quick little toilet break. And then he comes back in. I lift the roller door about, you know, half a foot. And then he comes back inside of the garage and then he'll just sit under the car and watch the world go by, which is good. It's good for him. A bit of outdoor time. He's not a good indoor cat. He's quite active and has always been a bit that way. Casper, who the dearly departed Casper, he's a bit of a couch cat. He didn't care where he was as long as he was sitting. Hence why he was rotundurous. But Fudgy, he's lean, but he's active. Completely different animal. And he hasn't really got into that, but he's now must feel, oh, I just can't get my angles right. He must feel a little settled, and he's looking for his little outside time. So our yard is fenced at the front, so he's never going to be in danger of, you know, a dog grabbing him. And I only lift the door a little bit, so any dog that happened to get under the fence, there's no way that they would get to him. So I might let that sit for a minute. If I force that in, I'm probably going to push everything up. So what I want to do is get a piece of fabric for the base. So I need something of decent size. I was hoping to have done this. There's a piece that's big before I filmed again, but I just have not had time. Let's have a look inside, just refresh my memory of the colours. Come a bit closer, box. Yeah, do I do that fabric or that one? Probably doesn't matter, it's only on the bottom, and it's to just keep it a bit cleaner. I'm thinking this one, to be honest. These two pieces of fabric were gifted to me by my auntie when she was cleaning out her pantry. So that's my mum's sister and my grandmother's daughter, of course. So another seamstress in the family. She's an avid crocheter and did a lot of clothes making, probably more than my mum. But my mum sort of had to squeeze it in around farm life, where my aunt, she was a nurse. So she'd get actual days off to, you know, do other endeavours like sewing. So she sort of had a bit more time than my mum. My mum had to squeeze it in between milking cows. For those of you who know the farming life. So there's the top. I'll try and leave it all folded, otherwise I'll end up with a hang of a mess. So I might have to stand up here, guys. I'm just going to trace around the base like I did last time. Just stuck my arm on top of the glue. If I'd put the lid on, let's keep it straight, girl. Yeah, so my aunt had those days off to potentially sew. And whenever we'd go to my aunt's for school holidays, because I'd want to hang with my 3 cousins, often we'd go to town and get a piece of fabric, and while we were all hanging out, climbing the mango trees in the backyard, she would make some clothing for me. So I'd always seem to go home with an outfit. Great memories. All right. And she had 2 boys and a girl. The girl was my brother's age, and she was the middle child. So we're pretty good chums. Actually, her daughter is Madison, who if you've been around a while, you would have seen when I made a pouch covered in lace to give to Madison a piece of jewellery as she was heading off to the UK to become an ambulance driver. The Maddie pouch, she's doing really well. She's just extended think she's coming up to 3 years of her program at I'm pretty sure, is it Manchester or Leeds? Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, she's completed her 2 years and can sign again her contract with the hospital to stay on another 2 years, which would then be 5 years that she's given to the program. I think it was about 20 to 30 students went over from one of our universities and were sent all over the UK to different hospitals as part of their, I guess, on the ground training. Excuse me. So she loves it, absolutely loves it. We always get photos of her heading off to Spain for the weekend, or off to here, off to there, like, oh, seriously. I might try something different. I was going to trim this down to suit, but I'm thinking if I leave this bit extra fabric, I can use it to hang on to. It's not so finicky. So what I'm going to do is do the glue thing again. So yeah, she's re-signing. She is staying on, and I think Teresa, her mum, said that once she's done the 5 years, oh gosh, don't quote me on this. I'm sure she said this. Once she's done her 5 years of work in that hospital, it's not Manchester. That's the airport they fly into. Anyway, she then gets offered a UK citizen, a dual citizenship, which I don't think's really her motivation, but it was just something Teresa mentioned, that it opens up the ability for her to have a dual citizenship, have a UK passport. Gosh, I'd grab it. Why wouldn't you? Just flit around. So, yeah. We thought she might fall in love and marry a Englishman, but she hasn't yet. She's doing so much travelling on weekends with her fellow mates that she's got to know, that the girls are just having a great time just checking out all the sites. They've been to Italy and Greece and Paris and where were they the other day? I went to a Mother's Day lunch with Teresa and her mum. I just joined in. They invited me along. So I went across to Maryborough and had a lovely long lunch, afternoon tea. Remember, I was offered pedicure and manicure, and I bailed out at the last minute. Yeah, well, we had a lunch beforehand. So that's where Teresa was telling me about Maddie's re-signing, and if she does the 5 years, she's entitled then to UK citizenship. Hope I got that story right. I think so. And she was actually sending photos through. When I got to the house, Bernice's house in Maryborough, Teresa was sitting on the couch. She'd just driven up from Brisbane, and she was sitting on the couch talking to Maddie on Zoom or whatever they use, Facebook, you know, whatever. So it was great because I got a quick hello to Maddie, and she's looking great. She seemed happy. She'd had a few tough cases the week before, but they had a great counselling system in place by the sound of it, and she was doing good. Plus she had some annual leave coming up, which was the week that she was going to Morocco. So she had come off her shift and was chatting to her mum, waiting for her trip to Morocco to start. So we were talking to her just as she was heading off. So then after the Mother's Day lunch, the next few days, we're getting all these amazing photos of Maddie in Morocco with her friends from work. And oh my goodness, I tell you, Australia's just so far away. Her mother and I were very jealous. We're like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? especially to have got some work over there, and then from the UK she can sort of bounce wherever. Oh, I feel like I need to trim that fabric back. I don't know, am I going to regret not having that little edge? Oh, I'm going to trim it back. And I might just sneak it in a little bit at this back corner. And I'll cut on the inside of my line, which might also be enough to pinch it in to the perimeter. So we were very jealous watching Madison trip around the countryside of Morocco. Oh, tell you what, these kids. So yeah, she has signed another couple of years of her contract. It's been really good. I can just see her confidence has grown. Like, she was a confident girl, but she's just blossoming into this beautiful woman. Bar when you hear yucky stories of things that she encounters as an ambulance driver and being the first responder often. Can be very sad. But she's a good kid. She's got her head screwed on. Alrighty. So we need the flat back of that circle. Have I got my stripes straight? Are we worrying too much? Probably not. This glue just does a beautiful job. Look at that, that's pretty good. If I remember rightly, it'll give me a little mark when I run my fingernails around some of these little lugs, that I can just peel it up and trim those little bits out. This has been relatively easy, I must say, the covering of the box. Don't speak too soon, girl. You're getting ahead of yourself. Not exactly sure what day you guys are getting this video, because I didn't look at my diary before I sat down. But I've got to decide whether I go to the Gameri Pumpkin Festival, which is on at the last Sunday of May. Dodge across and say hello to my dad. But I don't know. Just don't know. It's such a big palaver in this little country town that I know I can't stay the night, so therefore I've got a queue with all the tourists that come to town as we leave the district to get back towards the coastline, and that's going to annoy me because it's a Congo line of thousands of cars coming back towards the main highway that runs up the Queensland coastline. And it goes for hours and hours and hours. And I think I'd rather slip in the next day when it's all over and say g'day to Dad than spend my Sunday afternoon in a Congo line of traffic. But we'll see. So I'm not sure, what day you're watching this video. This is a bit fiddly. What's not helping is I'm getting very sticky, dirty fingers. So Dad has been very busy growing the pumpkins for the pumpkin festival, which have now been delivered uptown to various locations for the tourists to purchase. And roll down Policeman's Hill, which is the main event when all the kids get to roll down their pumpkin. And if it lands on the lucky spot, they can win like prizes. Like I'm going on previous years here, so I don't know if this is current, but used to give away $1,000 if it landed on a secret spot. There was a marker on the concrete on the road, and if someone's pumpkin landed on it, they could win themselves $1,000. That was always fun. Pumpkins going flying. Or there's a big resort on Fraser Island, which is our big Fraser Island Gari off the coastline of Queensland, and they'd often donate a couple nights accommodation. Dad also grows a giant pumpkin or two and donates them to a couple different organisations in the district, and they'll do a guess the weight of the pumpkin. I got very close to guessing one year and I couldn't really, well, I think I did win it, but I didn't take the opportunity to claim the prize. I just sort of backed away because, the daughter of the pumpkin, gee, that looks like rats have chewed that sign. The daughter of the pumpkin growing man guesses the weight of the pumpkin, and I did not know. I was at the event and I'd found where Mum and Dad were. I think they were, that year it was the chaplains that are in all the schools were raising money, and I think they were also joined by the Gideons from the district, putting Bibles into hotels and things like that. So they were helping out on their stand, and they'd asked for a pumpkin. So the pumpkin was there, and I'd come trotting along, found Mum and Dad, and they were giving out balloons to kids and just helping out the two organisations. And I had a guess, wrote my name down, and pretty much said, I'll catch you later back at the house, and toddled off to check out the event. And later that afternoon, we all caught up for afternoon tea at Mum and Dad's, and Mum said, oh, you actually guessed the weight within a few grams, a few 100 grams, I think it was. But we took your name out because it, and I said, oh, definitely. It doesn't look good. Looks a bit dodgy. So it went to someone else who was actually quite a distance away from it, but they won 2 nights accommodation on that island at the resort. And yeah, so I got pretty close. I've always been pretty good at guessing weights of things. I don't know. I think it's because I have a feel for weights, because when we were kids, we were always growing onions and things like that, and they were in a 15 kilo bag or a 25 kilo bag, or then we'd be packaging zucchinis into bags for market stalls. So I was always around weights. So I was always mucking around with my brother. Could we guess the weight and then test it on the scales? So in my hands, I can sort of feel when things are a kilo of sugar, or, I just seem to have this bit of a reference. And it's always been a bit of a game for me. Even when I was at work, I'd do up an order for a customer, and then the box would be in my hand, and before the staff would go and weigh it to work out the correct postage, I would, have a bit of a feel of it and going, oh, I think it's 800 grams, and I'd be usually pretty close. So I don't know why that's a great skill to have, but anyway, if you do it enough, you sort of get a feel for it. So am I ready to slide in my picture? I think I am. The only thing is I've got really sticky fingers. I might just grab some wet ones. Okay. I just want to clean my fingers because I don't want to put residue on the photo. Quite a few of you too commented, why didn't you print, or why don't you print the picture onto the photo? I think I did comment back to a few saying I really like the idea that it's this very old photo is within the texture of the piece. I think it would have been a very different feel. Number two is I don't have a printer that likes doing it. It can, but it's not a fan. I didn't really want to lose the detail of the lady in the picture. And the picture sort of is one of those things that I've got one of. I can still feel glue. I've got one. I don't collect them or anything like that. And it would just roll around in my craft room. So it's nice that it's got a home now and it's used. And the other reason is it's really thick. It's like printed on paper it's nearly cardboard. Like it's laminated. You can hear the... So it's not like probably what you're thinking. It's a soft, lightweight photograph. So I sort of felt like it was as if I'd got a photo and painted it up with lacquers to protect the surface. Now, if everything goes all right here, we can just slide that down under those fabrics there. It's like a pocket. Put her in deep. There we go. Now, the next thing I want to do is make it permanent. So, I might just bring her back out. All is going to work. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in there, which will help hold her down. It is very lumpy and bumpy, but that at least will secure. Don't put glue on the photo, girl. God, goodness sakes. Messy little fingers. Slide her in, she in. And the other thing too is I got this when I was in Ballarat from Susanna. She had some packs of lacy morsels. I think she's still got some on her website. Actually, I was talking to her the other day about it. So if you are chasing some beautiful cabinet cards, Susanna still has them on a website. Now I'm going to use some art glitter glue, which is fast gluing and strong, just to catch that corner. So yeah, she's still got some if you're interested. I might use a bit then on that. This is not going anywhere. And I'm going to call this, oh, I did want to play with a bit of blue stitching on this piece too, if you remember from the last video. And I just didn't feel that it worked. I just felt like it was suddenly looking very cheesy. Does that make sense? So, but I did test it out in Brisbane. I was like, put a few little lines of blue and it just, I don't know, it just took away from it. And that's why I thought I'll use fabric. Just seemed a lot more subtle. A lot of these little lacy pieces were gifted to me at the Ballarat retreat as well. So that's lovely to have all these little elements find a home. That's not going anywhere. That's great. I don't think I'll glue this one down. I like the fact that it looks a bit dimensional. I'm getting a bit arty now, aren't I? Just a little bit. Just helps everything sit down. Give it a moment. Yeah, beautiful. Hello, little lady. Is this your hat box? Wouldn't have been great if she'd had a hat on, but anyway, it's because her hat's in the hat box. That's why it's not on her. Done. Drum roll. Done. It's a little bit crooked. Let's just, while we still can, have a wriggle. Yep, got it. That's better. Lucky I looked at that. This top edge here. Just bear with me, guys, while I just reposition that a tad. It's not going anywhere. Love how they make them so durable. You don't get that now. They literally feel like a playing card, a very strong playing card. There we go. Now let's have a little look inside. Yeah. What are we going to do? Do I cover it or do I leave it? I don't know. I tend to think I should leave it. Let's just put a little bit of glue. I don't know how we're going for time. Let's just glue these little daggy edges here so they're nice and secure. Wear and tear. I'll have to get my little bag of shoes out. Pop them in the little box. I have a couple little dresses of mine that I used to wear as a little girl. Maybe I could pop them in too. They're just hanging in the back of the cupboard. Bring them all together. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't know about that stain. They call it a patina when things have a natural patina. That's what they say with vintage cars now if they're got that rusty look. I'm just grabbing my fabrics back where I can reach them. If I did do some fabric collaging in there, I would cover it. I think I'm going to leave it, guys. I don't know. I just feel that I should. Yeah. Leave it alone. Let the box have its story. Close the box. Like, it's got rusty bits everywhere, so, you know, if I'm worried about a bit of a mark, it's rusty. All right, that's it. I'm going to call this project completed. Yay, how gorgeous. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's come up beautifully. I was so nervous about it. I did not know if it was the right thing to do. Well, I knew it was the right thing to do, but were the colours right? And yeah, really happy with it. And now she has a use. She always did have a use, didn't she? Yeah, love it. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye and wait patiently for the next prompt. How exciting. Another month done. One more month of useful items. I wonder what the girls will throw out there for us. Very exciting. All right, guys, Look after yourselves. Have a lovely day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.